Hey, so we operate a tourism business on the mothballed railway line between Taumarunui and Stratford, known as the SOL or Stratford to Okahukura line. We've got a number of facets to our business these days. We've got 43 converted golf carts, which we, as Tembi said, we import from the States. We convert them here in New Zealand, put railway wheels on them, and that's the main component of our business. This year we've introduced what we call rail bikes. And so we bought some technology out of Tasmania, and we've now got 6 rail bikes which you sit on the railway line on a tractor seat. In my world, there's no such thing as a comfortable bike seat. That's an oxymoron. And so we've got a comfortable seat. They've got 3 gears and an absolutely outstanding experience. Probably haven't marketed it that well this year, but I'm hoping if I can get home and see 7 Sharp tonight, or the rerun of it, it's going to be on 7 Sharp tonight. So that will just kickstart things along. And then to add to that, 2 years ago or 18 months ago, we bought a 15-unit motel in Taumarunui where we now base our operation. It's the site, front of house for us, and also the site for my wife's accounting business. She shifted her business from Hamilton here, Accountants NZ, and is now bases that out of Taumarunui. You can basically base businesses anywhere in the country these days, as most of you will be aware. And then, I guess, more of late, we've just bought a half share in the local jet boat business. And so my understanding is there's a brand new jet seeker or something jet boat arriving from Christchurch in about September, and we'll be offering the longest commercial jet boat ride in the Southern Hemisphere. Now that'll be from Taumarunui down to the Bridge to Nowhere. Now, have any of you been to the Bridge to Nowhere? Well, those of you that haven't, you really need to make the effort to go down there. You need to also come and obviously do Forgotten World Adventures, but the Bridge to Nowhere is another absolutely outstanding New Zealand story. Connects really well with our railway line. The same guys that settled that Mangapurua Valley and who they built the Bridge to Nowhere, World War I returned vets, are the same guys that built our tunnels on our railway line. And so, yeah, absolutely fantastic stories for Kiwis, and the foreigners love it as well. So, yeah, as Tembi said, we've got 30 now full or part-time staff. It's quite frightening when that number gets mentioned. We've got a massive array of buses and other vehicles and associated sort of with running our business. The line itself there's 142 kilometres of railway line. There's 98 bridges, 24 hand-dug tunnels by those guys, and it runs through some pretty spectacular scenery, fascinating history, coal mining, timber, real hardship with farming, and then obviously one of the draw cards of our business is the Whangamomata Hotel. Now that's Whangamomata is New Zealand's only self-proclaimed republic, and so you get the chance to come down there and meet the president. Interestingly, the president is currently the previous president has just died. It's I think they call it a poison chalice, is becoming the president of the republic down there. Every president has died in office, and so we've lost the poodle, and we've just recently lost Mert. We lost the goat, and so the lady that's taken over the job is absolutely crapping herself. So yeah, as you know, amazingly diverse people down there. Clearly, it's not known as the Forgotten World. For no reason. It's a forgotten part of the country, and we've found a really unique and great way of exploring that forgotten world. 2/3 of our clients are 65 plus. Now, those of you who are in the know that that's the ageing baby boomers. There's no physical or age constraint to doing our business, and so these people just love still getting out there and doing things. Now, I guess I do want to make it clear that is only 2/3 of our clients. A third are still under 65, and so most of you we're obviously still people that we're targeting. So then just a bit of you want a bit of a history about how I got to where we got to. Born in the Waikato, educated, border at Mount Albert Grammar School in Auckland, Bachelor of Forestry Science at Canterbury when they still had a forestry degree there. Worked for the Forest Service for a few years and then went overseas, came back and there was no Forest Service left when I got back here, so I had no job. Ended up in Rotorua, started a tree surgery business called Treescapes, not to be confused with the big Treescapes. We started about the same time, and so we were able to use the name. But the problem was I always wanted to go farming. Now, and it's the same today, it's bloody difficult if you're not a farmer or coming from a family to go farming. And so, pretty standard in those days. We were, I was looking at all the farms in the paper, and I think we had a house that was worth about $110,000, and we had a $90,000 mortgage, and 2 young kids, and I think 1 on the way. And so I actually just happened to stumble across this book. Now, it's The Magic of Thinking Big, and it's by David Schwartz. Now, you don't need to rush out and buy it because I'm going to tell you the secrets. The secret that you're basically in this book here is that there's no point mucking around with small things. The competition is too intense. You're actually much better to take on a single really big project. Now, this isn't going to work for everybody, but this is what that book said. So, read the book. The following week, had a quick look in the New Zealand Herald. Instead of the section where I was looking at the cheapest farms, I found the most expensive farm in the Herald that day. I think it was 1.3 million, and it was a property just on the outskirts of Hamilton over here. I shot over there on the Sunday, and I put an unconditional offer in on that property on the Monday for I think 1.28 million, and I put down a $10,000 deposit. Then I had to go and borrow. So my mother and my wife are very conservative, and so it obviously didn't go down well. But long story short, I was able to subdivide and on-sell that property, and was able to sell. We split it into about 6 lots, and we sold 5 of them before we had to settle on it. And so I managed to come out of that with my neck. So that was sort of the start of, I guess, the magic of thinking big. Went on and look, I've had some disasters along the way. People like entrepreneurial type people, which I don't like the term. You have some muck-ups. And so I bought a butcher's shop, but with some of the proceeds. That was a disaster in Dinsdale. But we did do the Glentui Village. I don't know whether any of you know it. At the bottom of the Raglan Deviation, we bought some land off Tainui and a village off the Ag Research Station and created Glentui Village. That worked out really well. Bought and renovated the Tawa Mall in Wellington. Not so good, but still we came out of it with my neck. And then spent the 6 years on the regional council after that. Round peg in a square hole is probably the best way to describe that. And so, look, at the end of that 6 years, I was at a bit of a loose end. And so I went to China, and my wife hates it when I'm at a loose end. I'm always coming up with these crazy sort of ideas. But I've always done a fair bit of duck shooting and the likes around Taumarunui, and so I was down there, someone asked me to have a bit of a look at some of the abandoned land in Ahura. So I went into Ahura, and rather than looking at the abandoned sections that I was supposed to be looking at, saw the abandoned railway line. At that stage, one of my mates was bringing in these golf carts from the States, thought it was going to be a reasonably simple process to chuck some railway wheels onto a golf cart and cruise off down the railway line. About $125,000 later, we had a prototype, but still no lease or rail safety case, which is what we ultimately needed to get onto that railway line. So look, long story short, it took me about 9 to 11 months. We got the prototype built, we got approval from NZTA to operate on the railway line, and we got a 30-year lease from QRail. Timmy mentioned some of the numbers. We did 2,400 odd people in the first year, 4,800 in the second year, 6,000 the last year, and this season just gone, we've done 6.5. So we've been fairly steady sort of growth, but it was interesting, and I'm sure I'm going to run out of time, but the growth was beginning to stagnate a bit, and one of the things, and Timby will hopefully, that'll cut out one of his questions, is that he'll ask me how we started the business. Well, the reason we started the business, and I guess I understood a little bit about governance from the regional council. We actually had a governance team for our business before we actually had a business, and so we've got some fantastic people. We've got Jerry Rickman, and then George Hickton, the ex-CEO of New Zealand Tourism, helped us to set up the business. Now, it would have been an absolute disaster if we hadn't had their involvement. But interestingly, business had stagnated a bit in last season. I was just telling Chris there, Jerry came down, had a bit of a look around, asked us to do a strategic review. I should have known, and I had to organise a strategic review. It was like turkey ordering an early Christmas. Jerry got the report done, or we got it done. First paragraph was how well the business was running, and the second paragraph, they sacked me. And so, and as Chris has said, I'm probably the most happy sacked person he's ever met. We've now got a general manager running our business, a guy who's had a lifetime in tourism, and so things are going really, really well. I guess before I get just onto the final section, we were at Trends last week in Rotorua. Tourism is on a bit of a roll. It's a great business to be in at the moment. My other business of farming, not so good. But they created a strategy 2 years ago trying to make tourism into a 41 billion industry by 2025. Now, we're really well on track for that, but they just did a follow-up report last week, and two of the things that they mentioned there were seasonality and also dispersal as two problems with the growth of tourism. Now, dispersal is going to work really, really well for people like me who are in regional tourism things. The Chinese, the Indians and lights, they're all going Auckland, Rotorua, Christchurch or Queenstown, and we're trying to get them out into the regions. Hey, so Tembi's about to hop up, so I'm going to race through the final bit. And this has been spoilt a bit by Ange, because my final section is on raving fans, and hopefully none of you have got very good eyesight, because I was going to hold up the Raving Fans booklets. Well, in actual fact, it's gung-ho. I lent Raving Fans to somebody else, and they haven't returned it. But so that's the book is by Ken Blanchard. I read a lot of his books. He did the 1 Minute Manager series. Now, it was interesting. Ange, so I just wanted to quickly race through this just around Raving Fans. Ange actually spoilt my thunder by, she calls them crazed fans. Now, a lot of you as business owners, you'll interact with your clients, and you all want to send your customers away as satisfied clients, and you think your job's done. The fact is, there is actually another level to that. There is what Ange calls crazed fans, but there is the raving fans, and they are the people that go away and market your business on your behalf. So you've got satisfied customers here, but sometimes you can just do something slightly different or slightly better, and that takes that person from being just a satisfied customer to a raving fan, and they'll go away and market business. And so as a result of that, 72% of our customers come to our business as a result of word of mouth. And so that's a huge marketing tool for us. So raving fans is a massive marketing tool. And so just really, just to give a bit of an idea around what we do for raving fans, I guess firstly, our experience sort of lends itself, because basically it always over-delivers, and so we've been incredibly lucky with that. We did a quick branding exercise last year. Chris spoke about knowing your story. We probably didn't know our story that well. We found out the things that people valued about our business, and so they were things like nostalgia, old-fashioned, great tourism as it used to be, and so we now, all our food on the trips is home baking, all baked in our own kitchen, and then we also put home baking in the motel units, and people just rave about it. Hey, guides are all guides make the people feel really special. And this will sound really creepy. One of our guides, well, all our guides stand at the bus as the people hop off, and most of these are big Maori guys. They're great Tamarui sort of, soul of the earth guys, and these ladies are basically lining up for a hug with Terry. Now, I don't know where this started, but shivers, that creates raving fans, trust me. Hey, so that's, and look, there's a couple of other things there too. I think one of the things that people really like is the boss and look, I'm not the boss anymore, I suppose, but the boss actually showing up every now and then, so I'll rock up and at lunch or the likes. The clients love that they are interacting with the person that started the company. It scares the shit out of the staff, because they don't let me touch anything, because I'll almost guarantee that I'll go home with a set of keys in my pocket, or the lunch stuff in the back of my truck. So basically all they want me to do is actually wander around, press flesh, and which is pretty much what I've now resigned to. So thank you very much.